The Week 5 Fanball Winners contests are up now on the Fanball mobile app, and that's who's bringing you today's fantasy football almost daily. That includes the Thursday night Niners-Rams matchup that's only $1 to play, and it just got so much easier with the out designations of Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, and Juwan Jennings. Who will have the most fantasy points tonight? Matthew Stafford or Matthew Stafford? Because there's really only one option now. Which of the running backs will have the best night? It's really between McCaffrey and Kyron Williams, but there's a couple other names on the list. How about the San Francisco receivers? It's down to Kendrick Bourne and Jake Tonjes. And the Rams receivers, can you choose anyone besides Puka? I mean, Devontae is an option. They have a couple tight ends on there too. Just pick the winners in those 4 groups of 4, and you split the pot with your fellow winners. There's $1 contests all over the place in Week 5. Including the London game between the Vikings and Browns, some early and late pick 3s, the Sunday night game, the Monday night game. Come pick the winners with us. Join now on Fanball. And if you haven't played winners before, use the promo code ALMOST for a $20 deposit match for first-time depositors. And it's almost a guaranteed win tonight on Thursday night. So you might as well go join up now. We're also brought to you by Game Blazers, where Week 5 is Fury Week. That means $50,000 are on the line, all in free-to-play contests, and including 2 contests with really giant prize pools. Use promo code FFAD when you make your first deposit for a match of up to $100. And after the onboarding, if you're new there, there's an offer for 2 rare packs. That's a $50 value for just $5. That adds even more to your inventory with more opportunities to enter lineups. Don't miss Fury Week on Game Blazers, where you can build your ultimate fantasy team. Today, we dive deep into the Sunday slate for Week 5 on Fanball with T-Bone Jones. But first, Less Than Jake.
From the Sports Hub Games Network, this is Fantasy Football Almost Daily with your host, Matt Harrison.
With me today, the guy who keeps killing it on the Fanball DFS show, Trevor, a.k.a. T-Bone Jones, which people really don't call you that much anymore.
No, now that we're all work from home, I don't really get the T-Bone moniker as much. So it's nice to hear it from an old friend.
All right. Today we're going to preview Week 5 from a DFS perspective on the show. And while we generally use those Fanball figures, most of the information can be used on any of the other salary cap sites. Before we do that, let's review some of the relevant news from around the league.
News team, assemble!
I mentioned in the ad read that Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, all out for the Thursday night game tonight. Kendrick Bourne, Demarcus Robinson, and Jake Tonjes, they're all kind of startable tonight because I think the Niners are just going to have to pass this entire game.
Yeah, tough spot. So they're missing everybody but running back 1, right? Wide receivers 1, 2, and 3, tight end 1, QB 1. I think Demarcus Robinson would be the only guy I'd maybe throw a dart at. He's had some, frisky games with the Rams once in a while, but not an exciting spot.
Revenge game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's been a number of years there.
A couple more injury updates. It's not a huge news day. Trey Benson goes to IR. Imari DiMarcado and Michael Carter will share the workload for at least 1 month.
Yeah, I think we'll probably get to at least one of these backs a little later in the DFS part of the program. But for now, it sounds like Michael Carter will be the kind of the 2-down back, and then Imari DiMarcado's been their pass game back for a decent bit now.
Yeah. 2 walking boot guys here. Bucky Irving into a walking boot. Not a good thing for a running back. CD Lamb out of his walking boot. That's good news, I guess.
Yeah. Good news that CD was able to maybe hopefully get back a little sooner than we initially thought. Who's the first player again? I already blanked.
Bucky Irving.
Yeah. So obviously Rachaad White will become a very, very popular DFS player if Bucky is out this week.
I agree. Lamar Jackson missed practice on Wednesday. It's looking kind of like a coin flip that he'll go this week against the Texans. We could see Cooper Rush under center for a full game. I had to pick up Cooper Rush and start him in Scott Fishbowl this week, and I vomited in my mouth just a little bit.
Speaking of revenge game, I mean, Cooper Rush was in Dallas for what, 4 or 5 years? Got
They're
a few
playing
starts
Houston
off.
now.
Oh, it's Houston. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Wrong, wrong town, wrong Texas City.
I mean, he could feel vengeance against the whole state. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But it's that Houston pass rush against what the offensive line is kind of playing like for the Ravens right now. That's not good if Lamar's out.
No. And then a couple guys who have been cleared to practice. Jaden Daniels cleared to practice. He looks like he's going to go again this week. Tyjae Spears, his practice window opened this week, and I think Tyjae Spears is kind of a sneaky guy. If he's active this week, I think that they give him a lot of run there in Tennessee where they're trying to find something that'll work. And then
I think Tyjae just adds a little juice, right? They just need some explosiveness on that offense.
Absolutely. Two guys who missed practice and are trending the wrong way, Chuba Hubbard and Tyrone Tracy. So, yeah, that's all we really got. You know what it's time for? It's time for DFS time.
It's DFS time.
I got a British guy to say that for us. Isn't that nice? We dig into week 5. We encourage you to go try out Fanball, both on the web and the Fanball mobile app. Our salary cap games, still web only, but they're coming to the mobile app pretty soon. The mobile app houses the winners games right now. And that I told you about the $1 Thursday night game between the Niners and Rams. It's like almost free money right now. So you should definitely hop into that and see if you can really basically pick which Niners wide receiver between Tonjes and Bourne are going to do better, and which running back is going to do better. You get those two right, you're going to win tonight, because I think Puka's a lock. But yeah, let's talk about our favorite DFS players on the slate this week. The week 5 Sunday slate. Week 5, we're into bye weeks now, so it's a much smaller player pool this week, fewer guys to choose from, but you can kind of focus in on a few more players. Let's start with a player who's going to be in close to half of all your lineups. Trevor, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going with one of the top guys on the slate, Jonathan Taylor, 7,900 home against the Raiders. JT's worst game came last week, and he saw 22 touches for 96 combo yards. That includes the 50-yard touchdown run he had that was wiped out by a holding penalty on A.D. Mitchell, who also dropped the ball at the 1-yard line. A different spot.
What a great day for A.D. Mitchell.
Man. And JT had one of those last year where he had the let me drop it at the 1 against Denver before I get there. I don't know what it is with this team, man. JT's seen at least 20 touches in every game so far this year. He's getting nearly the full workload. Non-Taylor backs have combined for 4 touches over the past 2 games combined. And the Colts are a full 7-point home favorite. 3rd highest team total on the slate. It's a great spot. Don't overthink it.
Yeah. I am going to start with Jahmyr Gibbs, 7,500. He's on the Lions, of course, and they're playing the Cincinnati Bengals this week in Cincy. The Bengals have allowed the second most rushing yards at 123 per game. That's not good. The second most combo yards to running backs at 170 per game. That's not good. And in 4 games, 6 different running backs have had at least 11 Fanball points against Cincinnati. The floor is 11 points. The ceiling is like 45 with Gibbs this week.
That Cincinnati team, there's some really bad vibes. Like I could see an absolute, 25-point throttling in this scenario.
It could be just a train wreck the entire year, and they could definitely be a team that's picking in the top 3 in the draft next year. How about a player who's above 7,000 on Fanball, a high-priced player that we normally like, but you're not putting in any of your lineups this week?
Speaking of the Bengals' bad vibes, I'm going to go with Jamar Chase, 7,600 home against Detroit. In the full 2 games that Jake Browning started, Chase has seen 14 targets for 73 yards. The Bengals have 13 combined offensive points.
I'm pretty sure when Browning came in week 2, Chase had like 16 targets in that game. So he got more targets in the relief mop-up duty of Jake Browning than he has since then.
Exactly. And Detroit's got a top half of the league pass defense despite having played Green Bay and Baltimore already. So until Chase's price drops kind of below 7K or Burrow returns in 3 months, 2 months, we just really can't play Chase right now.
Yeah, I'm actually sticking in the same division, and I'm just writing off the entire Baltimore Ravens this week. Bad vibes around Lamar Jackson. We don't like bad vibes. 7,400 if he plays. If he's suddenly active, it's still not a good matchup, and a hamstring that might take away all of his rushing upside. Plus, Derrick Henry 7,200. I don't really want anything to do with that either. Even if it's a Cooper Rush game, you'd think, oh, they're just going to hand off to Henry and over again. But Justice Hill's been involved, and the Texans are a really good defense. They're only allowing 197 yards per game through the air, only 86 yards per game on the ground to running backs. So that's just not enough, especially if Henry's starting to split touches a little bit more with Justice Hill. And it could be that the Ravens just are like, this week's we're going to just try to grind out a win, and it's not going to be pretty and it's not going to work very well, but we'll see what we can do. I don't see any high flying points coming in this game.
Yeah, with or without Lamar, it's a really bad spot. It could just be, like you said, it could be a grinding spot where Henry gets a bunch of carries that are pretty ineffective, and then the Texans do what they do on offense, which is very little.
Yeah. All right, let's start with our favorite quarterback picks of the week. I'll go first. My expensive quarterback pick is Jared Goff at 6,200. You're going to notice a theme in my players this week. I'm stacking Lions like crazy this week against the Bengals. They might not need to score after the third quarter either, because they're going to be at 40 points by the time the fourth quarter starts. Third most passing yards allowed by the Bengals at 272 per game, and the seventh most passing scores allowed. The only thing that the Bengals have kind of done well against QBs is preventing them from running, and Goff doesn't do that anyway. So we're in a good spot for Jared Goff this week.
No, Goff's in a great spot. Like you said, we just talked about how that could be a complete blowout, and just grabbing pieces as you can. It's a good idea. So this week actually went with Josh Allen. Again, just the most expensive guy on the quarterback position, 7,800. Home Sunday night against New England this week. Lamar, we just talked about, potentially unlikely to play. Jane Daniels coming back, but a tough spot at the Chargers, traveling a couple time zones. So it kind of leaves Allen and Hurts as the only other guys you really want to play above 7K. He only had 22 pass attempts last week, which was only his third such game in the last 20 regular season games with under 22 pass attempts. He'll bounce back against the seventh worst passing defense in the league. The Pats have been strong against the quarterback ground game so far, but that when you see that they face Geno, Tua, Aaron Rodgers, and Bryce Young, that might be the four least mobile dudes in the league. So no issues there.
That's not a rushing quarterback cornucopia there.
That's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
That's the crumpling quarterbacks.
All right, my budget pick for quarterback is Sam Darnold, 5,600 at home against Tampa. Tampa's allowed multiple touchdown passes in each of their last two games, and that was to Jalen Hurts, who doesn't normally throw multiple touchdown passes, and Tyrod Taylor, who's a backup. They've also given up 21 yards or more rushing in every game this season. And Darnold's not a huge takeoff and run guy, but he's getting about 10 yards per game. I think that probably doubles this week, if not even a little bit more. I kind of like Darnold in this spot against Tampa.
He's playing really well, and I'll have another aspect of the Seattle passing game in one of our next categories here.
Mm-hmm. Your budget pick?
I'm going Justin Fields, 5,700, home against the worst defense in the league, Dallas. Each of the last three quarterbacks to face Dallas has ended the week as fantasy's number 2 quarterback. Two of those players were Russell Wilson and Caleb Williams. Fields is a little more talented than Russ at this point of his career and a better rusher than Caleb. He's averaging just under 60 yards rushing per game right now. Fields is. This is also Fields' first game against former Chicago Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, who was the DC in Dallas. That could be a spot where, hey, you really let me down.
Pretty good.
I was gonna say the last time we had this, it was a good spot. So yeah, Fields is only 5,700. The rushing upside's huge. The guy could have 40 points. Great spot.
How did the Cowboys score 40 points against that vaunted Packers defense on Sunday night? What happened there, Trevor?
Yeah. So actually, Dallas was playing really well. Dak was playing really well. Their run game's really well designed. We ran out of nose tackle bodies, right? Devontae Wyatt got hurt, and the guys behind him, well, it was Kenny Clark, right? Who's not on the team. He's on the other team. And then we had like 2 undrafted stiffs play like 50 snaps. So we got a bye week, and let's get healthy.
All right, on the running back side, my expensive pick, obviously my expensivest pick. Expensivest, is that a word? Yeah, sure. Jahmyr Gibbs was there, but I have Breece Hall at 5,900, and he's not even super expensive here. Braylon Allen is out. The backfield is all Breece Hall and your aforementioned Justin Fields taking off with the run game. Hall got 19 touches last week, but the big thing is 5 receptions, and Breece Hall is only a couple of years removed from being one of the league leaders in running back receptions. They match up against the Cowboys this week. They're allowing an average of 28 running back touches per game and 142 total yards. That goes almost all to Breece Hall this week. Plus, they've allowed the 6th most receptions and the 3rd most receiving yards to opposing backs. So Breece Hall, very sneaky this week. Kind of a value at 5,900.
I was gonna say it wasn't like what, a year and a half ago, Breece Hall would have been a $7,100, $7,200 player.
Yeah.
Getting a significant discount now. I like
Yep. Your expensive guy.
Yeah, I'll go with Devon Achane, 6,500 against Carolina's defense. Achane's volume's excellent so far. He's seen 19, 19, 21 touches in the last 3 games. Obviously, we just saw Tyreek Hill probably out for the year. Should see a small volume bump there. So right now it's just Achane, Waddle, and whatever Darren Waller's got left at 34 in his first NFL action in like 2 years. Achane does already have 19 catches through 4 games, so I bet he gets a little more schemed up stuff just with him being one of the only good playmakers left. Carolina's got a bottom 10 run defense and has already allowed 5 different rushers to score a touchdown this year.
I mentioned him in the podcast with Fish on Tuesday. Nick Westbrook-Akine is the guy that I want to pick up as the Waddle replacement. We're not really going to talk about him from a DFS perspective today, but if you're in a league where he's available, I think that he gets schemed up quite a bit more in this offense right now. And he's not a bad player. He scored quite a few touchdowns last year for Tennessee. My budget pick, let's go back to the Lions. It's David Montgomery at 5,100. I probably won't stack all the Lions in the same lineup, but the one lineup I did build, I did have Goff, Gibbs, and my wide receiver expensive pick that you'll never guess. But this is a week I think you can use both Gibbs and Montgomery in the same lineup together if you really wanted to. Same stats I had for Gibbs. I'd be shocked if the Lions just don't put up just a bevy of points in this one. It's just going to be a slaughterhouse.
Yeah, I was going to ask how many lines you think you could get away with in the same lineup. Is it just 3 maybe?
I considered Laporta as my tight end in this thing too, but I think 3 is enough. Goff and probably 2 others, but man, there's a lot of Lions upside this week.
Yeah, you kind of can't go wrong anywhere there. My cheap guy, I'll go with Woody Marks, a flat $5,000 against Baltimore's defense this week. He booked career highs in snaps and touches last week, outpacing Nick Chubb 21-15 in touches. Baltimore's defense is atrocious right now. Like really, really bad. And they might be down as many as 5 starters, including Roquan Smith, their star linebacker. 2 weeks ago, Detroit dropped 224 rushing yards on this team that had some of those starters in week 3. And then the Chiefs' pedestrian backfield cleared 115 on the ground last week. D'Amico Ryans, their head coach, also said Monday he's excited to see how much more work Mark's could handle forward and that they liked what he did in the pass game.
Pedestrian backfield for the Chiefs is very, very nice of you.
So when I worked I'll tell a quick story here. This was at Pro Football Focus. I was an intern there like 8 years ago. And there was a little bit of, hey, you can't say players are bad. Say that they're just, struggling right now because NFL teams, they don't want to see that they're playing badly, right? So, and that always kind of stuck with me. So that's why Pacheco and Hunt get a little bit of a gracious label there.
All right, my expensive wide receiver. You can't guess it. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. 6 touchdown receptions in the last 3 weeks. He's on fire right now. The Bengals, bad against wide receivers too. 9th most receptions and 7th most yards allowed to wide receivers. The Bengals do suck.
I was gonna say it's kind of just the same stats. Well, they're bad at this and they're bad at that, so you can play in.
They throw a lot of touchdown passes to the opposite team's defense, but we don't play defense on FanDuel.
Exactly. So my expensive guy this week is not quite at the top, but I'll go JSN 6,500 home against Tampa. Tampa's already allowed Drake London 8 for 55, Garrett Wilson 1084 and 1, Nico 352 and 1. So number one receivers bet nice games. They did shut the Eagles duo down last week, though Jalen Hurts didn't complete a pass in the second half. I don't think that was a like Tampa Bay's defense is so good kind of thing. That was just a let's grind the game out. Tampa
Do you
does
think
look like
Philly
a tough.
is just trying to be the most boring team and kind of like leaning into it and laughing at it right now?
Yeah, the best way I heard it, I think it was David Hellman on the Athletic Football Show said they're like one of the top college teams, right, in Alabama, playing just Kentucky or Vanderbilt, and it's like, yeah, are we putting our best stuff out there? No, but we have way more 5 stars than you, so it doesn't really matter. But back to Tampa or JSN, Tampa's got a tough. It looks like a tough matchup on paper, but Tampa's faced Michael Penix in his 4th career start, a Texans offensive line that's the worst in the league, and Tyrod Taylor are 3 of their 4 quarterbacks. The volume is really good for JSN, and you had Darnold earlier. Darnold's actually playing very well right now too.
Yeah, I like that. Budget wide receiver. This guy's way too low on the salary. The Wizard might have misplaced him here. Keenan Allen, 4,700. He didn't score last week, but he did every other week of the season so far, averaging almost 9 targets per game right now. And here's the wide receivers who've seen at least 8 targets against the Commanders this year. Malik Neighbors had 5 catches for 71 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson had 6 for 55. And then Trey Tucker had 8 for 145 and 3. And Drake London last week, 8 for 110 and 1. So while I think that the floor here for Keenan Allen at 9 targets per game is about 10 PPR points, that's very safe at 4,700. And I think the upside is definitely there. If he connects with a touchdown, we're looking at close to 20 points, and I'm all in on that.
Especially with Joe Alt being out, I wonder if there's a little more emphasis on the quick passing game, which is that's where Keenan Allen's lived, his entire career, right? So
Absolutely.
that's a good one. My cheap guy, I went with Michael Pittman at home against Vegas, $5,200 this week. Through 4 games, he leads the Colts in targets, receptions, and receiving scores. Vegas has been really bad against receivers this year, giving up the 6th most fantasy points. They've also allowed 10 different players already to hit at least 45 receiving yards against them, including some less talented guys like Luke McCaffrey and Kayshon Boutte. You can kind of play a lot of Colts. There's a lot of we can play the Colts and the Lions, and you can make a pretty good lineup out of just those 2 teams this week.
That's interesting. Couple of team stacks here. My expensive tight end is Trey McBride. The Cardinals' 1st and 2nd string running backs are both on IR. They can't hope to keep the same balance of running the football to passing the football. They're going to have to throw just a little bit more. And the guys who's averaging the most targets is McBride, who's seeing almost 9 per game. And he's averaging 6 catches for 59 yards. And that's a really, really safe floor in PPR, which Fanball is. This week, it's the Titans. The Titans really haven't faced much for tight ends this year. Tyler Warren was the only good tight end the Titans faced. And the Titans were already down by double digits at like halftime. Jonathan Taylor went nuts in that game. So there was really no need to pass for the Colts against Tennessee. I think that there is very much a need to pass for Arizona.
Oh, I like that one. Expensive guy, I went with Jake Ferguson, who I think might have been my cheap option last week.
Yeah.
So he's 4,700 at the Jets. In his first game without CD, Ferguson caught all 7 of his targets, 40 yards and a score. The Jets have given up 8 for 43 and 1 to tight ends to Pittsburgh's combo, a 761 to Buffalo's combo, and just gave up 2 touchdowns to Darren Waller in his first game back in 2 years. Pickens and Ferguson are the only 2 real pillars of the passing game that you can count on, and Dak's playing excellent football right now.
Yeah, I like that one. My budget tight end, Dalton Kincaid. He's at 4,200. Kincaid has been really the best receiver in Buffalo so far this year. He leads the team in receiving touchdowns. He's averaging just barely less than Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman in targets and receptions. They're almost even. Kincaid's just like slightly less. And in fact, their average pass yards, all 3 of them are within 6 yards one way or the other of each other. So it's very much a 3-headed monster here, and I think Dalton Kincaid's the best of that. The Pats have allowed the 7th most tight end yards this year and the 10th most catches, so I think Kincaid's in line for a pretty good day. I believe that he will score a touchdown on Sunday night.
Yeah, I like that too, especially since Kincaid's a few $100 cheaper than Coleman and Shakir, who you said it's the stats are almost identical with some of those guys, right? So
yeah, and if you're looking for like a wide receiver tight end, like you can play on Fanball, Kincaid might be the best option, and he's cheaper if you wanted to do a Buffalo guy for that evening matchup.
Yeah, that's a great call. My cheap guy is almost a stone minimum. Tommy Tremble, Carolina Panthers tight end, 3,100 at home against the Dolphins. Jatavian Sanders, their normal tight end, is out with a high ankle sprain. Tremble filled in last week. He co-led the team in targets with 8, turned that into 5 catches, 42 yards, and a touchdown. Miami this year already been tagged 7 for 76 by Ty Warren, 566 and 1 to Dalton Kincaid, 5 for 65 to rookie Mason Taylor, who had just 6 catches in his first 3 weeks combined. So the 3,100 price, you just need like 4 catches for 30 yards, and that's kind of enough to pay off. And the price allows you to stack your roster with every single player you want.
I'm so bummed that Jatavian Sanders got hurt because he was my premature speculation pick last week on Fantasy Football Weekly. And the matchups for Carolina tight ends for the next couple of weeks, very good. So like that a lot. Who's your deep sleeper that you like this week? Who's your drop dead, bottom of the bucket, minimum priced guy that you feel like you could put in a lineup?
Yeah, so this player is a tight end in reality, but he is a wide receiver on Fanball. So just if you're looking for him at tight end, that's why he's not there. Jawan Johnson, 3,500, tight end for the Saints, or wide receiver on Fanball.
Wait, why don't we get that changed? He's definitely a tight end.
I spoke to the fairies who help keep it up, and there's
we got a wizard and fairies.
We got a lot of magical creatures running the site. So prior to last week's run heavy approach, the Saints took, Johnson had seen 11, 9, and 8 targets in the first 3 games. I kind of like the play Jawan Johnson at the wide receiver / tight end, and then play Tommy Tremble at actual tight end. And that's 6,600. And then I think you have about $7,000 left for the rest of your players. Wow. So you can kind of shove in everybody that you want after that.
I like that. That's a good move, Trevor. That's clever.
He is limited in practice on Wednesday, so just keep an eye, make sure he plays, obviously.
All right. Well, the Fanball Elves told me about Michael Carter of the Cardinals. He's 3,500 this week, which I believe is minimum price for running back. A lot of people are going to pivot to Amari DiMercato as the guy, but DiMercato is the pass catching back. He's the change of pace back. He might get the first look at the most touches, but Michael Carter is at least going to be on the field for 2 of the first 3 downs in most cases. He's taking first team snaps in practice all week. He told the beat reporters that he was the starter, but they're going to make DiMercato too. Hey, are you the starter? Yeah, I'm the starter. Sure.
Yes, I'm sure the coach loved to hear that.
Yeah. So Michael Carter of the Cardinals, cheapest starting running back on the board by a long shot this week at 3,500.
He might be like 80% owned in contests. I mean, it's 3,500.
Do you think that people will go that high on him?
Maybe not, just because there's other options that are pretty cheap this week, so you don't have to go down that far.
The Fanball lineup I built, I couldn't find myself getting all the way down to Michael Carter. I thought I could.
Yeah, I didn't either, actually.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the Fanball 5x5 for this week. I'll pop it up on the screen here, and it's the late games yet again. A lot of good players here on the list this week, including Terry McLaurin. If he's able to come back, he's a buck. So is my friend Dalton Kincaid, who I just talked about, as well as both Patriots running backs, Ramondre or Travion. Which one do you want? You got Stephon Diggs down in the dollar zone too, but I kind of like the opportunity of using maybe 2 of those dollar guys and see if I can wedge in a couple of extra $5 guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown is up there. Josh Allen is up there. Yeah, I like the opportunity to get a couple more of the more expensive guys in my lineup this week. I could even go Josh Allen with Goff and Gibbs and then put 2 $1 guys in there.
Yeah, I think you do need to pay up for maybe a $5 player or 2 this week. But specifically, I looked at Josh Allen, right? He's just the guy with kind of the highest ceiling on any given slate, and it's tough to fade him in a contest like this.
Yeah, absolutely. $5 to play, $200 to the champ. It's not a super giant contest. It's only got 100 or so people in it. So if you want to get involved in the Sunday 5x5, head on over to fanball.com, look in the lobby, and you'll be able to find it. You'll be able to play it this week. All right, clicking off of that. Reminder about Game Blazers. Epic Packs 20% off at Game Blazers this week. That's 10 items for just $60. with an opportunity for wild items and franchise items too. If you use that promo code FFAD, you'll get $100 deposit match if you're new here, only at Game Blazers. And we have a very special how to play Game Blazers episode coming at you tomorrow morning. So if you're interested in learning more on how to play, Anthony Maggio and I are going to go over basically how do you get started on Game Blazers? How do you buy a pack? How do you get going? And you can take your shot at $750,000 in cash payouts on free-to-play contests all season. Trevor, anything else that you got as we head out the door?
I might have to listen to the Game Blazers pod with our little internal contest. I got to get up to speed on what's going on.
Yeah, all of my players on my Game Blazers cards right now. I have Josh Allen, and then everybody's on bye or they all hit IR this week. I had Trey Benson. I had Malik Neighbors. I had somebody else too. It was just an absolute disaster. But I did play in our contest last week Romeo Dobbs at a 1.5x, and that almost got me to the money last week. It was a fun ride. So if you want to try out Game Blazers, it's actually a pretty cool way to play fantasy, and you can kind of build your roster as you see fit. So, all right, for Trevor Jones, this was Matt Harrison, and we'll talk to you next time on the next Fantasy Football Almost Daily.